Why do dumb and lazy people make more money than you? In fact, if you've ever been frustrated with this, as I have in the past, in this video, I'm going to actually explain how you can personally start to make more money with less time and less effort. In fact, we're going through one of the biggest shifts and opportunities of our lifetime. I don't know if you've been paying attention and can kind of feel this shift, but I'm actually going to walk you through how I've personally found to tap into the one strategy, the one thing that allowed me to go from 0 to 5.4 million in high ticket sales closed. And just generally what I've found is the one secret that all these rich but dumb people are doing. So if you stick until the end, I'm actually going to walk you through the entire blueprint and most importantly, show you how you can start making some FU money in your pocket. All right, so let's get this show on the road. How to make more money with less time plus less effort. So I'm going to talk about the one graph that actually led me to 5.4 million high ticket sales. And it's also the one common denominator I find after coaching 300 plus business owners. It's the same thing. And number two, the word belongs to those who spot trends early. Now, that's not just some fancy smanchy thing. Like I'm actually going to explain what I mean by that. And then most importantly, when I do reveal that, how you can start making some money from this new wave. I'm talking going to Chase Bank and filling your pockets with some cold, hard dinero. Okay, so we're going to talk about those three things, but let's talk about the first one, the one graph that led me to 5.4 million in high ticket sales. So if you are not familiar with this graph, it's actually from a guy named Naval Ravikant. So Naval Ravikant, multi-million-dollar entrepreneur and VC investor, and he actually had to say this specifically about leverage. Okay. The most powerful form of leverage is capital, code, and content. These scale infinitely with zero incremental effort, right? So think about one of the biggest business owners and entrepreneurs today, Alex Hormozi. How did he actually get this huge freaking increase in success? Well, it was one key thing. It was actually through content, okay? It was through content. So I came across Alex fairly early. I came across him during his gym launch days in 2018. And so over the past 7 years, I've seen him just become, a very well-known guy in the gym space to now one of the most top business influencers in the whole business space, right? What changed? Well, he understood this concept and he understood this graph of leverage. Most of the time, as business owners, or even if you're a solopreneur looking to start a business, the only form of leverage we have is one thing, which is like labor, right? It's labor or capital. And here's a hard truth that you might have to suck up is labor and capital, okay, are actually the lowest forms of leverage. They're the lowest forms. So for example, that's how traditionally people did actually scale was, hey, if I want to grow my business, if I want to go from like, let's say 10K per month to 100K per month, I have to actually hire more people. And now, while it might sound great on paper, I don't know if you've ever managed or trained or, hired a group of people. I've trained over 100 plus sales reps at this point and hired a lot of them. And here's the truth. Being a manager, it sucks. It's exhausting. Now, don't get me wrong. It's one of the most fulfilling things and making an impact is phenomenal. But the truth is most people are not bred to be managers and most people do not sign up to be a manager. So when you rely on this whole form of labor, which is the lowest form of leverage, you're trading time for money. And that's one of the worst trade-offs that you can do as a business owner. In fact, it's a really great place to start off, right? If you're a solopreneur, you put in your time, you get money back, and you gain more and more leverage as you grow. But that is not where you actually want to be playing the game in the long run, okay? So once I really understood, this is the graph that we need to play, which is how do I go from, let's say, a low form of leverage. Let's actually make this blue so you guys can see it. A low form of leverage to the highest form of leverage, which is media and code, according to our guy, Naval Ravikant, okay? When you understand this is the one secret that actually helps you 3x, 5x, 10x your income, your wealth, your business in half the time, right? Literally, it can happen as quick as 30 to 90 days for some people. For example, I took one of my sales team from 60K per month, okay? We took them to 297K per month in a span of less than 90 days. How did we do that? Well, we did it with leverage. And most importantly, we did it with leverage combining these top things like media and code. Now, I'm going to explain a little bit of why this is really important and how we can actually look at history to see that this is true. This hypothesis is true. It's not just a thing or theory. It is actually something that plays out. So let me bring you back to a good old time back in 2015. If you haven't been in the the business space since then, that's fine. Pretend you were. I, unfortunately, was still finishing up high school. So I was a senior in high school. I was going to my first year of college. And here was the challenge that I had. I knew pretty fairly early on at 18 that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I still had to go through 4 years of college, okay? So a huge shift and a huge opportunity at the time was this revolution of like social media, right? Paid ads, Meta, aka Facebook at the time, was like rolling out this whole paid ad system in like the early 2010s. And the people who took advantage of it around 2015, 2016, they are actually the 7-figure, 8-figure, and sometimes even 9-figure entrepreneurs, aka Mr. Alex Hormozi here. These were the guys that understood the unfair advantage of leverage, which was the vehicle of paid ads and social media at the time, right? So let's make this a little bit more specific, because I'm going to go deeper into this concept that I just explained. Again, the first principle or the key principle here is this idea of leverage, right? Well, that's just some fancy business term that people actually say. So what does that actually mean for you? How can we actually make this tactical? Well, leverage at the time, the opportunity of the vehicle that was found in 2015, okay, was social media. Whether it was organic and you creating this like following, right? So you had a lot of these people like TikTok dancers, right? They created this huge following, or YouTube following, right? Which was what they call organic. Or it was through media, specifically paid media, through Facebook ads and like things like Google ads, right? So they found leverage in this. In fact, at the time, it was still an early trend. This was a trend, and I said the world belongs to those who spot trends early. Back then, this was this huge opportunity, but only a portion of the market had kind of noticed it, right? This right here was like the top 1%, right? The top 1% who found that opportunity early, right? In fact, if we really think about it, Facebook ads was launched way earlier than that, but the true like monetization, the true like capitalization of the opportunity was happening between the era, I'm gonna tell you right now, around 2015 to 2020. Like I said, I was still too young at this time. I was familiar with Facebook ads. In fact, I had like this nice little streetwear drop shipping store back in 2017. So I kind of caught this like in the middle of it, right? But the truth was, even though I was making like $3,000 to $5,000 per month in my little e-com drop shipping store in college, I wasn't tapping into the true opportunity here. In fact, I was so dumb, I didn't even realize how great the opportunity was. Back to kind of what we were talking about in the beginning. Why are dumb and lazy people making money? Well, the truth was I just tapped into leverage at the time, right? And I didn't even know that's what it was. I was just kind of being stupid. I was like, oh, everyone's doing this paid Facebook ads thing. Maybe I should put a drop shipping store, because at the time it was still new. At the time it was still an early trend. At the time there's still really high leverage because not a lot of people were doing it. Okay, I'm going to say that again. At the time, I was making $3,000 to $5,000 per month as a college student, which, that's not that much money now, but as a college student, you're like, yo, I'm filthy rich. Let me go get my BMW, right? That's because this opportunity pool wasn't tapped in. But now, fast forward to 2024, 2025, and 2026, this opportunity is pretty tapped out, man. Like, I'm not going to lie. Paid ads and Facebook ads are still great. But if I tried to do that dropshipping store today, I'd be making like maybe $10, right? With my stupidity and how naive I was, there was no way that I had a skill set to actually make that type of money. But the truth was, I didn't really need a skill set because the opportunity, back to this, was such high leverage, right? The vehicle or the opportunity had such high leverage that it didn't matter how dumb or how skilled I was. Nowadays, if you actually want to make, real FU money with this type of vehicle, well, you need to be extremely skilled, right? You need to be extremely skilled. The barrier to entry is incredibly high, okay? So the reason why the world belongs to those who spot trends early, like we think about Alex Hormozi and Alex Becker, Sam Ovens, right? These are guys who have successfully sold companies. They're 8 and 9-figure business owners, right? The reason why this was, let me put my face on Alex right here. The reason why that was because they understood how to run Facebook ads, which was the high leverage opportunity, and they were able to tap into the power of client acquisition through social media. So what is the next trend? What is this next evolution of this, right? Because we understand there's leverage. We can't tap into the same opportunity like we used to. So what's the new opportunity? What's the new wave, right? We talked about number 3. How can you make money from the new wave? Well, this new wave is called AI, right? And okay, cool. Another AI video for you. Well, pay attention to a couple few minutes because I'm going to actually show you how real this opportunity was. Don't be like me back in my freshman, sophomore year of college, like, oh, drop shipping, social media, oh, so great, so good, so dope, dude. I didn't understand how powerful and how big this opportunity truly was. And to be honest, even though I run an AI consulting company, I still don't truly understand how powerful and how big and the impact this AI revolution is going to be. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Maybe pay close attention. Don't be the dumb me in college. Be the smarter guy, smarter-est guy in the room, and understand that there's actually a real opportunity here because you now have the opportunity to understand the power of AI and how to tap in to what I call this AI revolution. So let's talk a little bit about this. How can you make some money from this new wave of AI, and why is it so important? Why is this going to make you the FU money, right? Why is this going to make you the FU money? Well, let's go into it. Let's actually just look at some things that I think are really important, which is just like this graph, and no, that's not a boo. Get your mind out of the gutter. Just about like this graph, we are actually in an even bigger graph. Okay, we're an even bigger opportunity here. I think the pool of opportunity might even be bigger than social media. In fact, I think I'm underestimating. It might actually just be like this. Okay. All right, so let's repurpose that. Let's say this opportunity is really big here in 2025. Here's where I think we're just tapping into it. Maybe. I think there's so much more of this opportunity to expand and grow, and we're actually, believe it or not, whether you think AI is overhyped or maybe you're already getting saturated, I'm going to invite you to think and just consider that might possibly be a very limited way of thinking. In fact, this opportunity might be even bigger than any of us can conceive, any of us can even understand. Okay? So it's not 2020, 2025. Okay? I truly believe over the next 10 years, by 2035, this is the opportunity of the decade. In fact, if you're too slow on this, right, if you even wait 5 to 10 years, we might already be here by that time. Maybe a little bit over half the opportunities, complete. And by 2035, we're like 80% of the opportunity. Right now, we're not even in quarter one. We're not even in the first quarter of this ball game. All right, we're just in warm up. This is like the pre-game ritual, right? This is like the Golden State Warriors entering, and Steph Curry's just doing his little dance with the team, and they're announcing the team. They're not even like playing the first quarter yet. Like, this is how early you truly are to gain an unfair advantage over 99% of businesses, so that you can make literally life-changing wealth for yourself. Life-changing wealth. I'm life-changing wealth. I'm not even kidding when I say that. In fact, this was really cool. Let me show you something, okay? Let me show you something real cool. Okay, so I'm not going to explain this whole video because this is one of the videos that I think is one of the best ones for you to check out. So just check this out on your own time, but I'm going to play a quick clip because this is from Sequoia Capital. I'm from Silicon Valley, and if you're not familiar with Sequoia Capital, they're one of the biggest venture capital firms in the world. In fact, in 2022, they had about 85 billion assets under management. I believe they're far surpassed that. I believe it's like over 100 billion at this point. But just listen to what they have to say here specifically about AI.
And the data required to fuel all of these delightful experiences is readily available. And so now is the moment for AI to become the theme of the next 10, probably 20 years. And so we have as strong conviction as you could possibly have in a hypothesis that is not yet proven that the next couple of decades are going to be the time of AI.
So let me just explain that, right? Because if you guys don't know, Sequoia Capital is like actually like a fundamental reason why these big like startups and tech companies like Airbnb, the Ubers of the world, the reason why those companies were like funded was because of Sequoia Capital. So they spotted the trends early with some of the biggest names like, WhatsApp, Instagram, Salesforce, Facebook, Airbnb, Uber, all these big companies that have been kind of like the biggest companies of the past 20 years. And if you just heard what this guy said, he said AI is going to be the theme of the next 10, possibly 20 years, right? So the biggest companies in this next generation, right, of 10 to 20, plus years is actually going to be AI based. So if you're really thinking about this, right, if all these big multi-billion dollar companies that we all use today, Sequoia Capital invested in them, and now they're going to be investing in AI companies, right? It went from like SaaS or like software to now AI. There's a shift happening, okay? There's this bridge and transfer going from like SaaS slash software, which, I mean, I don't know if you've been living under a rock, but was like the biggest thing that's happened this past 20 years. There's a shifting of the guard happening now to AI. So if you, let's say this is you, right? If you position yourself to be part of the facilitator or the guide of the people, the customers, the money, the wealth transfer from SaaS to AI, guess what? Well, you're going to get a percentage of that pie. And a percentage of even a small percentage of this huge AI pie, when this transfer is going to be the biggest wealth transfer of possibly my life, your life, and this generation. So when you really understand that and how you can make the opportunity of this next wave, I highly encourage you to actually start to figure out, even if you're not going to be selling AI, how can you become an AI powered business? Okay? Because a lot of people, even though they weren't selling software, they've actually become software powered businesses in today. If you're not living digitally and you're not using software, you're not living online, your business, the probability of it succeeding and thriving in this generation is not that high, right? Even the biggest companies of today who weren't software based use software. They're software powered. And so the biggest companies of tomorrow are going to be AI powered or selling AI. So that's it for today's training. I just wanted to show you the true opportunity and why you shouldn't be waiting on this any longer. In fact, you have this rare window of opportunity where you're actually early, right? You're in the pre-game of this 4+ quarter basketball game of AI that's about to unfold, okay? And if you really just commit to this over the next 3 months, 6 months, next year, learn it. Take the 10, 15, 20 hours to learn. If you're like brand new and have no idea what to do with AI, I challenge you and I actually invite you to start really tapping into this superpower, right? It's literally gonna put your business on steroids. Thank you for checking out that video. And before you leave, I have one last special gift for you. In fact, it's a free gift and possibly one of the greatest opportunities to help you 2 to 3x your business growth this next year. Now, after several months of not doing anything live, I'm finally doing a live free masterclass this upcoming month. So what we're going to cover here is actually how to dominate this year with AI agents. And most importantly, how to scale your business with something like an AI sales rep. So I'm not holding anything back. I'm sharing all the secrets I've learned, implementing this in my business, my client's business, and sharing all the tools, frameworks, and strategies live on this actual masterclass. Now, if that sounds like it could actually be helpful for you, just click on the actual link below. There are limited spots for this free masterclass, but if you're seeing this, that means there still are probably spots. So click now on that link, go ahead and register, and I'll see you live on Zoom on that upcoming masterclass. Again, Larry Antaporta, thanks for your attention. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side here soon.